everybody. Welcome to Waffle Talk. We just watched episode 93 of Dice Camera Action. I'm Sean, and this is Shauna. Shauna, what did you think of today's episode?
This was a strange one just because, like I said, it was based on like one event that kind of like seemed like it threw it off and just kind of like ended up being like an improvised encounter, which is interesting to kind of see that happen for a thing. But yeah, it felt a little weird.
Anybody in the chat, feel free to fire off questions and we will answer them as we get them. I'll try to keep up with you. Shauna, can you recap what happened on this show?
They kind of had recovered from the bomb from last weekend. Like the group is kind of in a bad place, like as a whole, as they go away from Cholt. Evelyn wanted really badly to actually go back to the port, and everyone else managed to convince her after. It seemed like she was gonna fly off, but she stayed. They prepared to kind of like go through a storm, and when the storm came, I think it was Strix. Was it Diath? It was Diath, I think, that saw the giants, right? Am I correct with that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they saw the giants, and Strix and Paulton, fearing the worst, counterspelled them. And the storm got worse. The group got knocked out, except for Diath got knocked into the water. The storm giants proved that they weren't hostile. Actually helped them. Evelyn had Diath steered the ship to make sure it didn't crash into the rocks. And Evelyn had a kind of a really pleasant encounter with a bunch of mermen, like mer people. So they ended up being put back on the ship. The storm giants calmed the storms, and they continue on their way to Waterdeep. But as the episode ended, a new key appeared on Diath's keyring. One that doesn't look like any of the other ones.
So let's see.
That's mostly it.
Go ahead.
Oh, and they lost the captain. The captain's dead. Or missing.
So when they were sailing the ship, and there was a storm. Were the storm giants trying to stop the storm?
They were like they said, they were trying to stop, and they didn't know that the party counterspelled. They're just like, our magic somehow didn't work, so they were doing good things. Yeah, they were trying to calm the storm. Like,
all right, Jeroth42. Today's episode made me realize why characters often don't hold themselves responsible for the side effects of their good intentions. The obvious consequences, especially for something as big as the Waffle Crew did, kind of just stops the narrative. In the beginning, the first half hour of the show, Port Nyanzaru had been negatively affected by the bomb that went off, and a wave hit the city, and they couldn't tell if people died, but people were getting dragged in. And Evelyn wanted to go help the people, but the rest of the group didn't, because they were worried they were going to get in trouble.
Yep.
And Diath was freaking out because he had previously killed a bunch of dwarf slaves when he tried to free them with thank you, Lisa. Just cupcakes. That's funny. So there's this big thing, right? And Paulton is angry, and he's kind of going off on everybody, sort of, because he wanted to throw the mandolin in, but they insisted on using the bomb, and the bomb is what has caused all these problems. And he really, and again, it's funny. It's always kind of like pulling teeth with him as far as Evelyn goes. Like she always tries to goad him into saying something nice.
Yeah.
He never ever does it.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts. So Diath is freaking out. Strix turns into rats. And I was thinking about it, and like, they should have gone back. What do you think?
I'm at kind of, because I think the narrative kind of propels them to go forward. But like, yeah, I kind of agree with like Evelyn. Like, they know that they're responsible for that thing. The um, it's not like the thing with the dwarves where like they like yeah didn't know. They knew that thing was going to explode, and they could see what was happening. So it's an odd position narratively.
Mhm. Dylan says, I guess the Brazen Pegasus is the Waffle Cruise now. I guess so, right?
And
Unless
they still got the
Captain Dark has a will or something, you
well,
know,
they have a new captain. Another guy, the
the first
second
mate.
mate took first mate, yeah,
Mhm.
took control of it. So
Gerald at
yeah,
42, go back and get arrested or executed or help
hmm
rebuild. Not much narrative there, especially execution. Well, I mean, for me, here's what's weird. The first thing,
hmm
Evelyn is neutral good. That
yeah,
weirds me out because when I think
neutral.
of okay, when I think of her character, I think immediately lawful good, but she's
hmm
not. She's neutral good, and like so, I think lawful good is like super good, do everything by the book. Chaotic
hmm
good is like you're good. Neutral good is kind of like, I'm good, but I'm doing,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think what's neutral good for me is they're still as good as lawful good. It's just they don't necessarily let the rules of whatever place they're in or their belief kind of like they're more flexible as far as like what they can do with being good and stuff. So
Yeah.
that fit.
And so to me, especially because just in episode two, 1 or 2 episodes ago, DS had this big thing about we can't run away from our problems, right?
hmm
And what did he want to do? Run away from their problems,
I
like
mean, I
just like that.
he tried. I mean, he tried, and then there was an giant explosion. I mean, before the turtle,
hmm
they did that. They made amends and they kind of fixed things,
hmm
and then the turtle exploded. So
And it was just like it's just to me, uh, like if you put yourself in, if you were playing that game, right? If you're a player, you're a good guy,
yeah,
and you use a bomb that damages a city, and there's
yeah.
people that might be in danger. How can you not go back? To me, it's like it, I would have gone with Evelyn in a second. I thought DF was just going to dive into the water and start swimming there.
Oh, DF. I think DF got reminded instantly of the dwarves. I don't
hmm
think DF was in any condition to
hmm
make any decisions of what to do in that point. It was like in Barovia, like after they got transported, and they're like
hmm
he just basically hid underneath furniture until like
hmm
I think Strix like basically like I think slapped it out of him, basically like just kind of like
hmm
brought him back to reality.
And it's like you could go back there and help, and if the guards give you problems, either okay, well, go back there. And if there's people in danger, help them.
hmm
Right? The guards aren't going to.
Yeah.
I know. I know. I'm backseat playing here, but just thinking about it, I was kind of shocked that they were so ready to just leave like that after they had this big thing about not running away from their problems, and then here they are. They're just like, all right, we're just gonna go, So it was like you could go there if there's people in danger, help them. The guards aren't going to stop you from that, you know.
hmm
And then in worst case, they're much higher level than the guards.
Yeah.
So you just
I
dimension door away or whatever
I
when
mean
in
I don't think
and
it's
maybe if there's a lot of damage, right?
hmm
Maybe they could later, if they get some big treasure, send
yeah.
it to the city to kind of repay them and help them fund like the rebuilding
Yeah, I
or
don't think it's
something.
necessarily the guards that like it's the merchant princes
Mm-hmm.
and how upset they are. They seem pretty powerful from what
Mm-hmm.
the adventure said. So it's like I can kind of understand like there's a little bit of self-preservation happening, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely happening there.
Yeah, I was not. I was like, and I also get the sense, and I get the
hmm
sense Chris didn't want them to go back, and that
Yeah.
was like kind of like weird to me. It was like, I mean, I get it that you wouldn't be. I mean, I as a DM,
hmm
as a DM, you never know what your players are gonna do, but
Yeah.
it was the whole thing was just kind of like it just didn't feel right to me. I mean, like
hmm
I just was kind of shocked. Paulton, I was not shocked by. He's he doesn't care. But he cares about his mandolin, right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't care about. But the others, I was kind of shocked that they were like, we're not going back there, because it wasn't like the people were definitely dead. They could have
Yeah,
done some good by going back. I guess that was
yeah.
my feeling.
I think Paulton's the only one that was kind of like I understand. Like I think of those
Hmm.
people, I think Evelyn's the only one that I think would go back
You know what?
because Diath because it's not whether or not good. It's because Diath is traumatized.
Hmm.
Strix is good, but is propelled by self-preservation and her friends, and she probably knows that they're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Hmm.
And Paulton is also very self-preservation for himself. So
Hmm.
Evelyn's the one that will basically toss herself at pretty much anything, no matter what.
I think I have a great quote that sums up my feelings on this. Ready?
Hmm.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Hmm.
Uncle Ben. Uncle
Hmm.
Ben died, right?
Hmm.
You gotta be Spider-Man, right? I'm already way behind on the comments. All right. Lisa, cupcakes. She gave me cupcakes. Thank you. And they were not, yes, they are not waffles, but that's awesome. Let's see. Maddie Paulton, again, the voice of reason. He was sort of, you know,
Yeah,
he's
he.
Nate has been really good and he gets better. And he's
Mhm.
like, he's really kind of, he's, I don't know, he's developing his character, right? And
Yeah,
it's like he's like in the head of his character and he's playing his character and it's like really interesting to like
yeah,
it's like
they're
whoa, Paulton is I didn't know he yeah, I didn't know he felt this way. That's kind of
yeah,
how it was, and it was so weird. It was like, oh my god, this guy's kind
yeah.
of deep.
There's definitely been like an intentional shift after the ring and stuff like
Hmm.
that. Like
Hmm.
it's like the character is reconsidering a lot of things, and it's while it's fresh, it may be frustrating. Like as a character, I do like the RP and like where he's going with that.
Hmm.
It's definitely showing a different side of Paulton.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like, I just mean as a viewer,
Hmm.
I was just kind of shocked at the Waffle Crew and
Mm.
what they were doing. I was just kind of like, really?
They've
I was just kind of like,
they've
really, guys?
they've
And then it's like Evelyn's gonna leave, and they're just gonna let her leave. You're not gonna go with
mhm.
her. I was just like, come on, man. That's
they
not the Waffle Crew that I know. That's how I
I
felt.
thought they've done that before. They've definitely done that before. Like
You're 10th level. Go. Help them. Get on your flying horse and go there. What is the deal? But whatever. All right, wait. I'm already way far behind.
yeah,
All right,
yep.
Locopelli Acquisitions Inc. Salvage mission in the bay. Dragon Turtle had an ungodly amount of gold and other treasure.
Hmm.
Yes, never mind the meat in the water. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, they had in this session they decided to contact Omen and to have him come to try to help the city. So that's something. And yeah,
Hmm.
there's still the dangling plot line of the Dragon Turtles treasure hoard, which is somewhere underwater,
Hmm.
presumably. And you're mentioning the meat. That means there's probably like a ton of sharks out there right now,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. I could draw all sorts of cool
And
monsters out there.
wasn't the part of the turtles like deal with the city or with the port is that it would protect them from pirates?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So all those pirates in the book can come right in and
Pirates and free treasure. That's not a great combination of things.
yeah, and then Acquisitions Inc. shows up and it's like, oh, it's a
Ah.
whole thing. They got a whole thing going on. That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Uh, Sure off. I agree with Evelyn morally, but not
Hmm.
narratively. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's its position.
Time patches. Neutral goods make their decisions, re law and order as they go. Mhm. Yeah, but Evelyn's so good. She's so good, right? She doesn't break
Yeah.
rules, does she? She doesn't.
She breaks rules, but it stays consistent with her belief though. Like she'll break like civilized rules and certain things and will not like take city rules, but she will stay pretty close to what she believes in most.
All right. Into the Photon Storm points out that Evelyn didn't even want to save the other sailor. True. She didn't want to do it. She did it though. She did do it.
Yeah.
I think the player, that was partly the player. Like, oh, there's all this stuff going on, and now I got to stop
There
for this
there's
2 hit point. jabroni over here.
There were so many other people, like other party members in the water happening at that point.
Yeah, there was so much going on in there.
Yeah.
Uh, let's see. Sheepskate 911. For the people wondering if they would go back into Storm King's Thunder, they might, but Chris would have to make stuff stronger because at 10th level they're fighting the final boss. Yeah, well, okay. So if they're
Hmm.
using material from Storm King,
Yeah.
giants are really powerful. So really all you got to do is add a giant. You know, they don't have that many encounters to start with. Usually it'll be one encounter per episode. So he's only got to beef up a couple encounters. And if they're dealing with giants, then it should be okay. Those giant dungeons in the book, I
Mm.
mean, the hill giant one isn't so tough, but the other ones are, they're not easy. The coolest one, the one I really like, and the one I really wish they would go through, and I think Chris had planned for them to go through it at one point. He kind of dropped some hints in the campaign, but they never went in that direction. Is the frost giant area? I thought that was really
Mm.
cool. It's like this because it's kind of open. There's all these cool things on the island, and once the group goes there, it's not going to be long before they're noticed. So their choices
Hmm.
really matter. And there's all sorts of weird, cool stuff there they could find. I think there's actually a captured dragon there, I believe, or a dragon. I shouldn't spoil it. There's some
Hmm.
really cool stuff there. I was like, oh. So, what's funny is like last week we were talking about maybe on this boat trip we'll run into some Storm King stuff. And we kind of sort of did, right? The
Yeah.
Storm Giants, which in Storm King, and that scene of the Storm Giant coming up under the water, that came at, I think it was Evelyn, or no, Strix.
Sure. Yeah.
That's like
Underwater. Yeah.
right from the art, except it was a boat.
Hmm.
That was the only difference. It was like,
Yeah.
that's really cool. That's a really cool piece of art. So it's like, oh, this
Hmm.
is really cool. Uh, to be fair, says Maddie, not running from their problems went really badly for them. Was that last time? I don't remember.
Mm.
They recently made the decision. I'm not sure. Then Scotty says neutral good is my favorite alignment. I usually play it off as I do what I think is good regardless of the laws of the land. And if I feel like it or not, I do good for goodness sake. I always, it's kind of like most of the alignments I have a pretty clear picture of, right? Like
Hmm.
lawful evil, to me, that's Nazis, right?
Hmm.
Chaotic evil is just a crazy psycho evil person. Neutral evil is like a sociopath, like a
Hmm.
manipulating, selfish person.
Hmm.
Uh, then you get true neutral, which is like the balance, which is kind of a hard thing to play. And then neutral good has always been a little weird to me. Like, what is that? I don't know. I never had a good. I couldn't put my finger on that.
Yeah. Neutral alignments are tough. It's fine.
Neutral good is it's like I don't know. I mean, it's like what's the difference between chaotic good and neutral good? That's what I don't know. I couldn't say out loud what it is. I see it on paper, but how do you play those two
Yeah.
differently? I don't know how to do
Hmm.
that. What would a
Yeah.
neutral good character do that a chaotic good character wouldn't? I don't know.
Yeah.
Cheroth, funding the rebuilding seems like the best compromise. Agree. Totally agree. I hope they do that.
Hmm.
Uh,
Well, they have the money.
and it's like Port 9 is such a cool place.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's people who live with dinosaurs. That's really cool.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's, you don't want to really, I don't know, you don't want to get banned from there.
Oh, they're definitely
They're banned.
they're definitely banned from there
I was just watching a thing about
forever.
Napoleon last night, and he actually got banned. They sent him to an island. It was really weird. All right,
Yeah.
let's see. Oh, chaotic good murder hobos. Dylan, I love chaotic good, helping people be their best selves and
Hmm.
tearing down impediments to that. Hmm. Auburn Elvis, Paulton was correct that everyone spends too much time trying to die for the group. They need to start working
Yes.
together.
Yes, definitely. I think that's still a problem. That's been a problem for them ever since the end of season 2, is that they will like trip over each other to like sacrifice themselves to save the others.
Hmm.
And it's like it was like that situation I think was one of the few times where I think they considered like basically hitting, attacking another player. So that has to be at some point, like, I'm glad he brought it up because that's been something that's been like kind of making them make the rash decision they've been making is that thing.
It's a weird. It's a weird complaint. You know, stop
Mm,
stop dying for me. I get what he's saying is that they're
yeah.
more. Let me correct me if I'm wrong, but he's saying that they're more willing to just kind of jump in a fire than look at a solution, like try to figure out a solution. You know.
Yeah, they tend to kind of panic and kind of their first instinct is to basically like what Evelyn does is basically fly at
Hmm.
something no matter what it is,
Hmm.
or Strix is to put herself in danger, and same thing with Dieth.
Hmm. So he's wanting them to be less impulsive and more
Hmm.
make a like a team effort and a team plan.
Or just to be safer, and I mean it's a point where it's he cares about them, so he doesn't want them to necessarily like just like throw themselves at, and it's
Hmm.
while it there is that aspect to it, it does whenever they do that it tends to not go great.
Hmm.
Sacrifice thing.
You see, he was right in that he was ready to give up the mandolin,
Hmm.
and they they just preferred to use the bomb. They wanted to use the bomb, and it was like he's right in that there's no guarantee that the mandolin would have been enough. Yeah, you
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah. I think yeah, they're just they've carried that bomb so much, and
Hmm.
I think maybe they're afraid to take it to someplace like Waterdeep,
Hmm.
because I think it could do, at least with this one, it blew up away from the city. Like
Uh-huh.
it still caused damage, but it wasn't like the heart of Waterdeep or something like that, where it would have been really bad.
I think maybe with the bomb,
Hmm.
maybe they should have tried to find someone, give it to someone for safekeeping.
Hmm.
Like they gave Drizzt the Strahd puppet, and he took it to Gauntlgrim. So
Yeah,
maybe I can't think of any NPCs off the top of my head, but maybe there was somebody
yeah,
in Port Nine Zaru that I
yeah.
don't know who though.
They
Are,
necessarily didn't really interact with any
mhm.
of the power in there.
No, yeah, they didn't.
The only one who kind of did was Strix, and that was kind of like that was in the guys with acquisitions and stuff like that. I
Hmm.
mean, they should have just gave it
The only person I can think of
to
is Zindar, the half dragon guy that they met.
yeah.
And the
Oh yeah,
Itepka
that's true.
Society,
That
they
is
could have
true.
given it to
Hmm.
them for safekeeping.
Hmm.
But it's
Yeah.
probably not going to be safe. But at least then it's off their conscience.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
out of there. Yeah.
it's weird. It's weird as a player to think about that because the bomb is such a great tool for the DM to use that it's like almost no matter where they put it in metagame terms, the DM's probably
Yeah.
going to be like, "Ooh, I could do this," or "Ooh, I could do that," and
Yeah.
so it's kind of a weird thing to be like handing it off is sort of creating a problem for yourself.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think. There's got to be places where they could put it that in theory it would be okay. I can't. Maybe when they got to Waterdeep, they could have just met with the leaders and been like, "Look, you gotta
Yeah,
lock
but
this
yeah,
thing away."
taking it.
Or while they were sailing, just freaking
Hmm.
throw it in the ocean. But again,
Just watch it off someplace.
yeah. Well, I mean, if you're out in the middle of the ocean, you
Yeah,
just
but I
drop
mean,
it. And just,
what happened was close to worse things that could happen with it. So
mm.
anything.
If they could figure out a way to detonate it safely, like if Evelyn had like a Iron Man robot body, she could have just a spare, fly it up and set it off, or if they had a spare murder bot, maybe. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of is either try to detonate it safely somewhere, like remote, or hand it off to somebody. But
Yeah.
Paulton's complaint is very valid, right? It's very valid, and it kind of goes down to I hate to say, all right, I think Diaz is a good leader,
Hmm.
but that is kind of a leadership issue, right?
Yeah.
It, there's nobody who's directing traffic and keeping things organized.
Yeah.
Really, because Strix, is impulsive. Evelyn is quick to
Yeah.
fly off. Paulton is drunk, and then there's Diaz. So it's kind of like Diaz the dad, and maybe he was the one who really wanted that bomb to go in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, Paulton has a well. You know what then? You know what that means to me? Paulton needs to step up then.
Yeah. Someone needs to step up, I think, for
Help
yeah,
Diaz.
for help DFX. I think he's
Hmm.
definitely like kind of starting to kind of collapse under the pressure, and this
Hmm. Hmm.
what's happened like is not helping. It's just kind of like it's compounding what's happening.
That would be very interesting. That'd be really cool to see, where Paulton like throws away the booze, which I'm sure he won't do,
Yeah,
but he just he takes charge. It's like, all right, everybody, listen, we
yeah.
gotta like because he was complaining to them,
Hmm.
but in the end, these complaints are just those characters are probably not going to change on their own like that. I mean, Strix cries all the time, and
Hmm.
that's her whole gimmick. She's like a cartoon character. She falls on the ground and she throws a quick tantrum, and it's funny.
Hmm.
And Evelyn is kind of like just she's not a planner. She just goes by her what's inside. We need to do this. Boom, she just goes to do it unless somebody says otherwise.
Yeah.
So if DF can't control traffic,
Yeah.
then maybe Paulton should try.
He should. Yeah, either try or prop him up because like DF can't do that. Like with he has good plans. He has good. It's just when his head's in the game, it works. If it doesn't, it ends like the way it is.
I think that's actually a really fun option for the
Hmm.
for the whole show is if Jared was kind of allowed to play his character as like all messed up, right? And just
Well,
he
he's
needs he
been.
needs a break. He's been responsible for so long,
Yeah.
and then so Paulton puts on the hat of captain and gives Diaz time
Yeah.
to recover. But the question is, can Paulton do that? Can he can he can he do that? That's kind of the
I'd
question.
like to see that try because that's something he has. He's shirked being responsible before.
Hmm.
Like he's always like shirked off, and it means he had like to have him have to take some sort of leadership position, or take that responsibility,
Hmm.
which is something he definitely hasn't wanted in the past.
Okay. Super far behind. I'm going to catch up right now.
Okay,
Here
yeah,
we go.
I'm starting to get a little bit.
Auburn Elvis. Yeah, we got that one. Into the Photon Storm. He didn't want to split party again. Chris, agree?
Hmm.
Because they were apparently about to split, and it was weird.
Yeah, because having someone, it's not just like splitting in the same town. You're splitting people going to different continents, and that's super hard.
Time patches. Nate really does keep getting better. Yeah, he is. It would be crazy to see him make the leap now from. It's good. It's really fun to watch. Uh, Paulton to me is the character that has the most potential for like evolution. Just
Hmm.
he become a completely different character. As far as like
Yeah.
character growth goes, and just what he would have done in the beginning and what he does now, and it's cool. It's really cool to watch, and
Hmm.
um, especially since the Ring of Winter, he's kind of I don't know.
Yeah.
He just keeps getting better. It's really fun to watch.
Hmm.
Nate's like it's like a really cool thing about the show. Uh, all right, Jeroth. The RP for all this was great. Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
They're all
Yeah.
super into their characters.
Yeah.
And they can't wait to do that stuff. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Because I think I'm always like really enjoy what Jared does. It's very slow and it's kind of like it's a long, slow burn of what's been happening. I'm curious to see where that goes and how, because it seems like it's working up to like something
Hmm.
to like to like either like push past it or just kind of like break, and that's when you just see that kind of like go and go, even though like the crisis hasn't let them kind of rest at all. And it's just like it's how long can it keep going like that?
How do you solve that? I mean, like, if he's bothered by the dead dwarf slaves, how do you fix that?
I yeah I
Right? I mean, like, what would
yeah.
in the game? What could happen to? Would it be he frees other dwarf slaves and makes up
Hmm.
for it, or would it be like laying their spirits to rest or something, or doing something for their clan that would help them and kind of at least make things better? I mean, it's weird. It's like, all right, so he's like tortured about this. What's the answer
I
to
mean,
that?
the obvious answer would be like him doing things that are successful and save people, but in that state, that's harder to do than like it's like you have to be in the mental state to do that in order for it to like happen. So
You could time
he's
travel.
he is, I think, going to need help from one of the other PCs.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. Or all of them.
What about a wish spell? Could he wish them back to life?
I don't
I think it's only one person, right?
I think that has to stay this way. I think it's something he has to work through without having a wish spell. I think that would be something I would
Hmm.
having to actually work through it rather than having it just fix itself. I think would be a much more fulfilling thing for that character.
Yeah. All right. I'm way behind. Here we go. Bad 007.
All right.
I have liked Nate's direction of late, but it was still a stupid move to sacrifice. This is a stupid move to sacrifice the mandolin so willy-nilly when he could have given up the sun sword or let Evelyn finish her negotiation.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, it is for the spells and like it is like a instrument for like a bard, but his rationale when he talked to Evelyn, I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a really strong like RP like
Mm-hmm.
decision because you're giving up mechanical like proficiency for something that you feel like would motivate your character to go further changes. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's yeah.
All right. Pirates and free treasure is a good combination. Truthfully, Acquisitions Inc. has the infrastructure and the money to help more effectively than the Waffle Crew. How long would it take Acquisitions Inc. to get there, though? I mean, where are they? Do you know?
I mean they're in Waterdeep, so I mean, but they do
Oh,
have access to the airships and like, you know,
it still takes
spells.
weeks to get there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like I don't know. Anyone know when the Stream of Eyes is, Sheepskate? I do know when the Stream of Many Eyes is. For people who don't know, um, June 1st, 2nd, and 3rd on the D&D channel. They're going to be doing shows every day, all day. Dice Camera Action's one of them. There's Dark and Dicey's going to be there. There's a whole bunch of shows. Um, and they'll be announcing the new products, like they did last year with the Stream of Annihilation. So it's going to be all 3 days on the D&D channel, and I'm going to be on my blog. I'll be writing recaps of all the shows, and then I think at the end of each night, I'm going to go on my channel right here, Power Score RPG. I'll do like a 1 hour like recap show, and just go over all the stuff we learned and all the funny stuff. And I also like to use that, like with the stream, to watch other DMs and players and pick out my favorites. I like doing that. So hopefully by the end of the weekend, I'll be able to assemble a dream team of like the best DM and the best players. Like last year, Dylan Sprouse, he's from one of those Nickelodeon shows a long time ago. He was he was a good DM. He was really good. It was like
Hmm.
I was like they got to get this guy. They got to get that guy get him some stuff to do. He was really and he's really into it. It's not like he's just doing this just for the novelty. The guy plays D&D all the time, and you can tell, And it's like, and he ran an adventure, and it's like this guy's doing stuff, He threw he had a green dress. That's a long story, but I was just like, that's why I like that. That's why I'm looking forward to this. Again, it's because you kind of get to watch people and see who's, and like all the cool stuff. We're gonna learn all the new products and all that stuff. And I really like last year. I should have been able to guess some of it because
Hmm.
the Stream of Annihilation, the promo art featured the Green Devil face, but Yawning Portal had just coming out, and the Tomb of Horrors was in it. So I'm like, oh, this is just leftover art or something. Like I was like, why would they do another Tomb of Horrors thing when they just put out the Tomb of Horrors? So,
Hmm.
but they did. So now, like my eyes are peeled now, And so Stream of Many Eyes, that's a play on I think the Sphere of Many Eyes, which is another name for a beholder, and they just put out the Xanathar thing. So I'm kind of thinking, okay, there's some Xanathar stuff coming, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Mm.
This episode hit too close to home. I don't like friends fight. I agree. Sage of Song, I agree with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, like
Conf-
as a DM, do you get like is that a stressful thing when like in character there's like that sort of that level of like interparty like argument and stuff like that when they kind of go at each other?
Not so much when I'm DMing, but when I'm watching stuff, makes
Hmm.
me very uncomfortable. I'm not a. I like movies. I turn it off when stuff goes bad. So I
Yeah.
definitely agree. I don't like friends fighting either, Sage. I totally agree with you. I don't know
Yeah,
if that's.
the ones I kind of like I felt like were the most like severe were like when Paulton kind of like snapped a little bit like at Evelyn and when Strix kind of like refused the healing.
Mm.
from her.
Yeah.
It's just like, no, I got this. No,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's the first time I've seen Strix mad at Evelyn in a long time.
Yeah. Ever.
Yeah,
Not comically mad. You know.
no, like not yelling, just
Yeah.
like no, yeah.
Sheepskate. I feel like Anna didn't want to save them, but she did. Yes, correct.
Hmm.
Photon. I thought the turtle ate all the treasure. I no. Well, this is from the adventure. Um, he puts it in his mouth and he brings it down to his secret hoard. In the book, it doesn't say where exactly the hoard is, but it does say specifically that it has a hidden cave that it hides all its treasure in. Chris might change that, but I think that's how it is in the book. So there is a treasure hoard there. So he doesn't swallow it, even though it does. It's weird. I guess he just carries it in his mouth and he lets it out, or I don't know. Maybe he
Hmm.
swallows it and he poops it out or something. I don't know. Let's see. Dylan, they visited a frost giant village and met artist Simber. He froze a white dragon solid, the same white dragon that nearly TPK'd Acquisition Incorporated. That is true. Art,
Hmm.
it's funny. My first thought was, oh, they should just give the egg bomb to artist Simber, but then I remembered, oh, he's dead. They killed him.
Oh, they killed so many.
They killed him.
Rip,
Isn't that
rip
weird?
lore character. Yeah.
If this is the official D&D storyline
Hmm.
canon in terms of D&D lore, which I
Hmm.
wish it was, I would like it to be. Then Artis Simper would be dead. And then the
No,
weird is that
just
I know they're not, but
just fell out of a tree and died.
he can always come back.
Yeah, I mean, it's like your souls are free to resurrect now.
Yeah. Jeroth, I do not blame the Waffle crew for counter spells. Adventuring paranoia is strong.
Yes.
Once counter spells, like as a DM, when I started using it, it was like, why wouldn't you use it? But it's also like players it really bums them out a lot when they cast one of their spells and you shut it
Hmm.
down with a counter spell. And
Yeah.
that could get real cheesy. It's one thing if you have an encounter where you have a couple bad guys and the one spellcaster spends their turn just to stop you from casting. But if you're making encounters where you have a bunch of bad guys, and on top of that, you specifically put in one wizard just to counterspell, that's when it gets like not fun for them. They're like, oh, you're just shutting me down just to shut me down. But
Yeah.
it's funny because in the world it makes sense that that spell is so valuable that I mean, why wouldn't any bad guy group have somebody who
Yeah.
counterspells always with them? If you're in that world. But on the other hand, as far as the game goes, it's like that can get really lame. So
Yeah.
because then you can actually counterspell a counterspell. So then you have this thing where it's like everybody's got their counterspells and they're all boing boing boing
It's
boing, and it's just kind of like weird. Yeah.
it's like a Magic the Gathering stack at that point of like counter spells.
Hmm.
And it's gonna be hard to throw like spellcasters at them because there's two characters that have counterspell and use it a lot. Like use it as like pretty much like they've used it as like a first thing when anybody casts a spell at them. It's like no
Well,
counterspell.
it's funny because the group, is very suboptimal, but now they're starting to get a little more optimal.
I mean they tend to cling on to like spells that are like survival oriented like like the way they've used the tiny hut in the past and stuff like that.
Hey, so I'm pretty sure in the past Chris has let Nate cast Tiny Hut
Yeah.
with just
Mhm.
one round,
Mhm.
but it takes a minute to cast.
Yep, takes
But
a minute.
today he actually put the brakes on, and
Mhm.
I was shocked by that. I was like, I
He
thought he had established that it was one round.
he hasn't let Nate cast the tiny hut as an action, I think, since the bomb. Like it's always been a minute, and basically has taken joy in telling him that it's been a minute because now he can't do that anymore.
He keeps trying to use it in combat situations, and
Hmm.
it's kind of like, dude, if you do that, you're. I mean, no, very few combats really go 10 rounds, so
Yeah.
he's sitting out the whole combat when he does that. So it's kind of
Hmm.
like it's a weird thing. I think if you put it on a scroll, then you can cast it like that. I think.
Yeah.
So if he wanted to do that, maybe he should do that. He should make some scrolls of it, so that way he can bust it out when he wants to, and that would take care of that.
Yeah.
He has a little bit of money. They
Hmm.
should go get some money. That's one thing they should
They
do.
they need money. They
They should
they need
sell.
more than
They should sell
busting
this
money.
ship when they get back. If
I don't
if
think it's
if if
theirs.
if if the first mate happens to die, they should sell this ship and get themselves some money. They need some money, man.
They
Mad
do need money.
Fartigan. My interpretation is chaotic. Gosh, look how far behind I am. My interpretation is chaotic good are against the rules. Neutral good will follow rules as long as they don't impede their quest to do good. They're pretty similar. Ryujin 0. I'm sure Diaz would really rather not blow up his hometown. Bad
Yeah.
memories notwithstanding. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Jeroth. Plan of the City. That's true. Jeroth, good point. The title for last week's episode definitely planted the idea of getting rid of the bomb in their head. The last episode had, I don't remember the name. It was like it's just bomb was in the title.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know, the episode wasn't about a bomb. It was about the
Yeah.
dragon turtle.
I think he definitely like referenced the bomb when he was recapping that episode as well. So
Here's the thing. Okay, so that makes me go, was there no other way for them? I don't want to say he was going to block it, but in his head, was that the only solution that was viable to getting away from the dragon turtle? I mean, did he just wanted that to happen, and was he going to just,
maybe, but I think it was just to remind him that they have this item because
the thing about
they
that
have an
is,
opportunity.
if you have that name of the show, right? And so
Yeah.
I mean, what if the bomb doesn't get used on this episode? Then it's kind of weird to have a show titled, "Bombs Away" or whatever it was, right? So it's kind of weird. It's like, was this just gonna happen? That's kind of.
I don't know if it was. I don't think what happened with that turtle was necessarily predestined, but like I think the bomb would have come into play at some point, but not because like he did have the evil Paulton like come in and take it and kind of activate it. So it was gonna go. It probably was gonna come into play and go off, but not necessarily killing the dragon turtle with it. It was something.
Can you think of another way they could have gotten out of that?
Out of the
dragon turtle situation?
They probably just could have tossed more items at it.
Do you think the mandolin would have worked?
The mandolin, I think if they just let whatever items that they threw at it and maybe put more in there, the turtle maybe would have. But yeah, I don't think necessarily. Yeah, the explosion, killing the turtle was the only option that they had for that. It was cool though.
All right, scrolling down, people. Ryujin, do you think Diaz mostly taking the leadership role by default just because Paulton used to spend so much time checked out? If Diaz started checking out Diaz started checking out the way Paulton used to, Paulton might be left with no choice. What if Diaz started drinking?
I don't. Yeah. Oh no.
That sounds like a really interesting idea. And then Paulton would see himself in the group.
Yeah.
That would be really interesting. Great freaking question, Ryujin. Legio X57. Wish. The wish spell would probably somehow cause more damage. Yeah, because I think the wish is granted by the nearest entity that can grant it or something, right? Like a god or a demon lord or something like that. So that leaves the door open for DM chicanery. In this case, it could be a trickster god. Oh, they're trapped in the tomb. It could be Dendar, actually, to grant your wish. Although Dendar's trapped, sort of. Maybe it would be Ooptao, although Ooptao's supposed to be gone. I run Ooptao like he's still there. He's just like mad, I don't like you, but I still like you. All right, so Mad, I love the name Mad Fartigan. Even if Diaz keeps trying to make up for his huge mistakes, will he ever feel like he's done enough? No, he won't. Nope. No, he will not. He should. What good things has Diaz done? He's done a lot of good things, right?
I think he's led them throughout. He's done a lot of like small good gestures and stuff like that. He's been mostly good. Like he's looked out for the party. It's just
okay, wait.
It's limited to them. It's like he hasn't done like a ton like huge gestures. I mean, none of them really have.
What? Okay, let me ask you this: what has the Waffle crew accomplished in their time. They imprisoned Strahd,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Season 2, they let out Mygara,
Yeah. I mean, they stopped
the
the fire
Bowser.
giants from having like this super powerful mech and stuff
Yeah,
like
like
that.
the
So.
fire giants were gonna have this giant mech romping
Mm-hmm.
around, so they stopped that. But
Mm-hmm.
the fire primordial got out, which is probably worse,
Eh,
right?
it might be. I mean, depending on what the Primordial wants to do. I mean, like
Hmm.
the fire giants definitely wanted to use that against the dwarves.
Oh wait, you know what good things they actually they ended the death curse,
Yes.
and that's their career is already made as far as adventuring groups. They ended the death curse
Mm-hmm.
on the D&D channel. That's not
Mm-hmm.
nothing, man. In a Chris Perkins game, you ended the death curse, so that's like they definitely have some medals awaiting them. So
Mm-hmm.
they've done good things.
They definitely done
Dieth
good
has
things.
accomplished things. He has accomplished
Yeah.
things. They defeated Strahd and they ended the death curse. Those are two major D&D things that he did. He was involved
Mm-hmm.
with. So yeah, he has things too. I mean, ending the death curse saves a lot of people were dying from it. He saved
Yeah.
all of them.
Well, not only like the death curse, but the afterfall was also there, so that probably would have done terrible things once it
Yeah,
ate all the souls. So.
yeah. Oh yeah. No, yeah. You're right. Okay.
I think
Uh,
he is definitely taking the whole like key thing seriously too. So he's doing some work.
Dylan is saying, according to the D&D team, the next adventure is the Da Vinci Code meets Gangs of New York. What does that mean? I don't know
Hmm.
what that means.
Well, it seems like there's, judging by the hashtag and stuff like, and that's been going around, the searching for items, maybe different factions at play and stuff like that. So
Mm,
there's definitely going to be some sort of like find the object quest, multiple object quest going on.
mm.
It would seem.
All right, I gotta skim down a little bit, people. I'm so far behind. If you put my name or
Yeah.
Shauna's name in there,
Yep.
that'll help us stick out.
Yep.
Uh, let's see. Sheepskate. Don't forget the crew also threw out a bunch of gold. Yeah. So the mandolin might have been enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Showing the dragon turtle so many items was their first mistake.
Mm.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Keep throwing items at him. He isn't going to say no to them.
Yeah.
Abrams X. They did get out of it until Strix went back to retrieve the key. Well, the key is a thing because, like, I'm pretty sure Shemeshka would have gotten that key.
Yeah.
Because,
The keys may be more important than should be giving it to a turtle, possibly.
hey, the turtle could summon Shemeshka.
Oh, yeah.
That would be weird. All right, scroll down a little more here. Uh, Shemeshka 100% knows people that owe her a favor who could kill a dragon turtle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think the key was out of her reach if Aremag had it. That doesn't stop her punishing Diat for losing something
Mm-hmm.
she wants.
They they still have her stuff. They still have her stuff still. The spectacles and the spell book.
That's right. And Strix can't read the spell book, right?
Yeah. At
That's
some point they're
weird.
gonna have to give that stuff to her, else she's gonna come looking for it.
How come she can't read it? Did he explain why?
I don't know. It might be locked. It might be like
Hmm.
kind of ciphered or some sort.
Maybe like it's maybe there's some spell that does that,
I
and she
Yeah,
could
imagine if
dispel
it's
it.
her
Maybe.
if it's her spell book, she probably put something, maybe someone other than her can't read it. So yeah, maybe take it someplace, maybe yeah, dispel.
There's no glyph of warding, right? But there could
Oh
be
no, I don't think
something.
there was.
I have to look. Maybe there's some spells. Chris is really good about using spells from the book.
Hmm.
As a DM, it's kind of tempting to just make up some BS thing on the spot. But Chris
Yeah.
takes the spells that are there and puts them in the world. Like those are the tools that people use to get things done. I really like that. But it's hard because you have to know all that stuff, and it's a big spell book. There's a lot of spells in D&D. It's really
Yeah.
hard to know them. I think I actually wrote an article once listing all of those spells, but I forgot what they were. So, but they were there. Uh, let's see. Rowdy Sniper. Diath has lived for years with the task of protecting the keys himself, and it's a heavy burden. Strix is guided by her love for Dieth, and she knows how important they are to him, and that's why she dove in. Yeah, they're
Mm.
just really freaked out about the keys.
Yeah, well, yeah, the keys.
Mm.
Bad things have happened around the keys.
Sheepskate. I thought it was a language barrier blocking her from reading it. Well, then all she needs is comprehend languages,
Hmm.
and she can read it, right? Or
Yeah.
identify what language it is and find somebody who can
Hmm.
read that language. Scotty, Strix can't read it because she's a sorcerer. Oh, duh. She's a sorcerer and it's a wizard spellbook. Okay, there you go. I guess. Does that mean Nate could read it then, Paulton? Can
I
bards
don't.
read them?
No, I thought I.
Wait, though.
I don't know because I've definitely read spell books before from
Strix
other.
read Barmy's spellbook when they were in the
Hmm.
Amber Temple, and she
Yep.
learned to remove curse from that spellbook.
I think as long as you're arcanely attuned, I think you can read it. You can't use the spells, but you can read the book. Like there's certain spells if there are wizard spells in there, Strix can't use them if they're not like sorcerer spells.
And Sheepskate, didn't she somehow learn from the Drow priestess's spellbook? I
Hmm.
think so. Yeah, so that's a very good point. Bottom line is that she's a very high level wizard, but more terrifying that she's extremely intelligent and can play way further in advance than the crew can. I'm quite.
Hmm.
Rowdy, when you start talking about DS Sold being in Shemeshka's happy box, how is it so? How have we been gone so long? I feel like we haven't even started. We're almost out of time though. What did
It's
we
a lot. I
miss?
mean,
Oh, so they were on the ship. They go to. It took me the whole show to catch up with the
yeah,
comments, and I
yeah,
missed
good comments.
I missed like
Yeah.
a wall of them. I'm sorry to anybody who I didn't address your comments to. It's hard to keep up, but I appreciate every single one. Trust me.
Hmm.
Jaroth, language so ancient, even magic can't translate it. That goes deep delve into magic mechanics. Yeah, I don't. It's funny. I've never thought about sorcerers and spellbooks and whether or not they can read them or not. I don't
Yeah.
even know. I don't even remember. It's pathetic that I don't know that, but I don't even know if a warlock could read a spellbook. I don't even know. I'm not a player, so I
I
don't know
think
that.
warlocks can read the spell book, so probably
Yeah.
sorcerers can. I think.
Uh, um. So they're on the ship.
Hmm.
They go. The storm giants attack. Or don't attack. So
They don't attack.
there's a
They help.
storm. Chris really seemed to want them to get tied up,
Hmm.
which was weird to me. I was like, I wouldn't want my character tied up during a storm. The crew was. I felt like the crew was treating them like babies. Like they ended the death curse. Okay, we don't need to tie me down to make sure I can survive a storm on a ship.
They have not had good times with ships, so I can. It's precaution. I mean, you don't if you're traveling, you don't want people, no matter how powerful, to like fall off a ship. It's bad. It's bad for rep.
There's got to be something else they could have done to try to keep themselves safe, though. Like, just go down in the hold, like down in the bottom. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It was just kind of like you. The ship. All right, the crew is taking care of the ship while you're in a storm.
Hmm.
And what if the crew needs the heroes for something and they're tied up? It's kind of weird.
I mean, they can get out. I mean, they can
They
get
did.
out.
Yeah.
They got out. They got all the time, and that was partially the issue.
Oh, Jeanette says the crew tied themselves down at one point.
Hmm.
Themselves down. Okay. And Sheepskate, to be fair, they were bickering like babies.
Yeah. They always.
um. So the storm, and so these storm giants were actually trying to stop the storm, but the group counterspelled them, and then everybody fell overboard,
Hmm.
and the storm giants actually saved them, and
They're very
mermaids
nice.
saved
Yes.
uh, Evelyn.
Evelyn had such a nice magic time with those mer people, and everyone else is just horrifically tied to this boat.
I love it when people are nice to Evelyn. I love it.
Yeah,
I
I'm
feel like
always
yeah.
I'm always suspicious that this is gonna be like, oh, you're doing something nice for her
Oh
until
yeah,
you do something bad.
yeah,
It's like, oh,
yeah. I thought that was cool.
it was cool.
It was weird. So it was a mermaid and a seahorse, and
Yes,
he
and
described
her
the seahorse,
escorts.
and it's like, did he come up with that on the spot? Because like that was really cool. It was like a mermaid and a seahorse, and the seahorse wasn't being ridden. It was like, where'd you get that from? That's so cool. He just made that up on the spot. I was like, that's a really cool idea. Like, what? And it's like, why is the seahorse there? You know, are they're just friends? I guess. You know, it's just like this is really cool.
Does summon steed? Does it have to be a horse, or can it actually be like a seahorse? Could could Morning Glory be a seahorse if she wanted to?
Another form.
Yeah.
What? There's not many forms left for Morning Glory. Yeah, so I
No, I
guess.
mean you take care of all environments.
A thing I've been, I shouldn't even say this, but the thing I've been for a long time, I've been getting ready to run this adventure, the Gloom Meet, which is based on some second edition stuff, where it's
Mhm.
like a hag convention where they all go to the Grey Wastes, they bring a Pegasus, they tear its wings off, and they turn it into a nightmare, which is like a black horse with flaming
But
hooves and it's evil. And the Gloom Meet is actually when it's about to start, a stampede of nightmares goes through all the planes, and that's how they alert people that the Gloom Meet is getting ready to start.
mhm.
So like it's like a hag convention, and that means to me that Baba Yaga is going to be there. All the famous hags of D&D, like the Stone Sisters, would be there. They're
Mhm.
all going to be there, and I thought, so it's like that's an adventure I kind of wrote up and I've been waiting to run for a long time. I've actually been waiting for the DM's Guild to allow fully planar adventures, so I can stick that on.
Yeah.
Who knows when that's going to happen? So
Danny Nerd says that feels like 72 damage was terrifying though. Yeah, it was 70 points of damage. That was
what?
that was lightning.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
72 damage from lightning.
Yeah.
That's more than the spell.
Magic. I mean,
Wait,
empowered lightning
was
maybe.
this storm a natural storm or was it a?
Who we don't know if it was natural now. We just know that the giants were like trying to like calm it down. So it might not been it might be a hint. It could be a hint to what's going on, like maybe with next thing. It could be like some effect of it.
Mhm.
Who knows?
Hmm. Um, her armor may have made it worse. Huh.
Yeah,
Ouch. Yeah, maybe. No, that was
maybe.
weird. And didn't they fall? What did they take 40 something from? What was that from?
I think the rocks when they dashed
They
when they
took
fell off initially.
they
Yeah.
took 45 damage from rocks.
hmm I mean, it's strong winds and you're getting flung. I guess it's like
That's interesting because like
bludgeoning.
as a DM, it's like I don't usually scale like if a first level group crashes, their ship crashes.
hmm
I don't know. I wouldn't say that the rocks did 40 something points of damage. I would say I don't know, falling damage plus a little more.
I mean, equivalent drama of being in a storm,
Sort of like
some danger.
scaling up the environmental damage for high
hmm
level characters. That was a little weird. I was like kind of like, oh, I can do that. That's how I felt when I watched it. I was like,
I
oh,
mean,
okay.
but then again, like you said, it might not been a entirely natural storm. So,
hmm Salt water plus metal plus electricity.
mm,
That's a big difference in DMs.
yeah,
Some DMs will, if you're in water and you get hit with lightning, you take a lot more damage, right? And
yeah.
some DMs just do it the same no matter what. That's like a real there's a real distinct difference between those two
hmm
points of DMs. It's a very interesting thing. Some get into the minutia and consider all of these scientific or whatever factors, and they modify it. Others just, all
Yeah.
right, we got, we'll do the
I'm like
lightning, whatever. You know what I mean?
my I'm definitely in the first team. It's like it's magic stuff. It's like I'll I'll kind of just do it whatever. Like
Mm.
I'm bad at science, so I'm gonna go with this magic way or how I think it is narratively. So
I
that's
think in
fine.
general, if a player comes up with something like that and it's
Yeah,
funny or it's cool, it's like, yeah, oh yeah, let's do
yeah.
that. In
I mean,
general,
if they bring up the idea, it's like cool. Well,
the
if it
thing
work, if it's thing, it's like go with it. Yeah, sure,
the,
why not?
the thing about that is like you got to set the precedent as a DM
hmm
because if you just run your
Yeah,
game normal, and then all of a sudden one time you do lightning does more because you're in water at a crucial moment, the players are gonna fart on it. So it's kind of like you need to set the precedent.
you need to
Uh,
be consistent to whatever you've done because
yeah.
players will get that. That's one of the things that will upset players is if you're
hmm
kind of like if they feel like they're singled out or they're being like
hmm
things aren't going like how they usually go,
hmm
and there's like weird surprises like that.
Yeah. So these like the mighty damage they were taking from like it was like so eye opening to me. It was like, oh,
Mhm.
you know what
I
I mean?
mean,
Like, whoa.
I think maybe the precedent for that is that they've always like taken large amounts of
Uh,
environmental damage no matter what level they were.
have they?
they've fallen off things. Strix has taken falling damage a ton. I think he has been hit by rocks a ton.
One of the coolest tricks Chris did that I immediately kind of like lodged into my brain was
Hmm.
there's been a few times where the group is in danger of falling
Yeah.
and then they fail their save and they fall. But the thing that they fall onto, it's not a cliff that goes straight down. It's at an
Hmm.
angle. So like in when they were in Barovia around the Amber Temple time,
Yeah.
I think the rock they fell, but they didn't plunge
Hmm.
to their doom. They hit a slope and they kind of went down a ways. And I thought
Yeah.
that's a really neat way to do that to create danger. But I think in that case, you got to make sure as a DM that you mentioned before that slope is there. And then
Yeah.
whether if they don't hear it or whatever, but you said it, and now
Yeah.
it's like it's not because if you don't, they're gonna be like, oh, he's just saving my butt here, you know. But if you
Yeah.
say it before, I think that's I think that's probably the mark of a really good DM is when they see that way in advance like that, and they
Hmm.
know to set that. You know, they've looked at their encounter and they've thought about the things that could happen, and they
Yeah.
came up with natural ways to make it exciting
Hmm.
without necessarily being lethal. You know, so you can
Yeah.
have those dangerous moments and then you're saved, but it makes sense how you got saved, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
this, and
If
that's
you
when it,
fail,
yeah,
it's consistent with the environment. It doesn't feel like out of nowhere,
uh-huh,
and but still punishes them
hmm
for failing the save. So it's
hmm
no fun when just a character just falls off a cliff and just like nope, it's character's dead.
yeah. Sheepscape. When did they fight a rock? So, way back in the Barovia sessions, they had been going with that guy Casimir. Well, he was not Casimir, but
Hmm.
they were miserable at that time. They were crossing that bridge and they had to rest there because they almost got killed by the rocks that were there. And
Yeah.
at night while they were resting, they heard a huge creature come and fly by, but they didn't know what it was. So then
Hmm.
the way back is when the rock actually attacked them. I think when they were on Rictavio's or Von Richten's carriage and their wild ride, I think that episode was called, and they're riding back, and that's when the rock
Yeah.
attacked. And I thought that's another thing that I really like that Chris does. Um, when he has an encounter, a combat, it's usually not just I rolled a hit, you rolled a hit. He didn't just have the rock fly up, stop,
Hmm.
and like claw, bite, or whatever it does. He had it grab the carriage and like try to just
Yeah.
fling it over. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's really cool. And like to me, that's like the difference between like a really fun campaign and maybe like a campaign that's well, still fun, but it's not. You know, I just feel like that's the trap that I fall into a lot as a DM. Where
Hmm.
it's just like fight, and you don't think, what would the monster do? What's a fun like movie kind of thing that we could do here? You know, because that's like really exciting. You know, because sometimes as a player, I kind of get bored a lot when it's like, we're just fighting the guy or whatever. You're just waiting for
Yeah.
somebody to drop, and it's like an hour or whatever,
Hmm.
rolling dice. But that's like every turn matters. You're all in the cart. It's tipping or it's getting flown up. What do you do? And if you don't do something on this turn, you might be dead next round. So what do you
Hmm.
do? And to me, I thought like that was like a really it's something I always try to keep in mind, and I always forget.
Yeah. I mean, that's something I think that came up definitely too with this encounter in the sea is that it wasn't like just simply like you get knocked off board and you're drowning. Like
Mm,
things happen, like interesting things. Like each person like kind of had their own like little like thing that they're going through rather than just being in the water and being thrown about.
hmm That's a cool thing. And even this, even today's show was like that. That was it
Hmm.
was this was not a normal D&D encounter. This was creatures that were trying to help them,
Hmm.
and the group, mistakenly. Well, you know what?
I mean,
I don't blame them for the counter
every
spells at all.
yeah,
They didn't know. How are they gonna know?
everything attacks them. Like eventually, most
Yeah.
of the things that they come up with that are doing spells have
hmm
not been friendly. So I understand that.
if their ship had sank way out there in the middle of the ocean,
Mm.
they're dead, right? They're just dead. They'd
They
have to
have
summon Shemeshka.
keys.
Yeah,
They got yeah.
that's it. That's the only
Yeah.
thing. So these episodes where they're sailing,
Hmm.
if that ship sinks, I think their only option is to summon Shemeshka, right? That's it. Huh?
Yeah.
That's not
Or
good.
unless someone has yeah,
hmm
because some of them can fly away. Some of them, half the party now can no longer fly away. So,
Yeah. Oh, so the end of the episode we should mention.
oh yes, yes, the keys. Yes.
Okay. So there's this thing that's going on in D&D right now. It's the Immortal Fortress. It's like kind of like a real life mystery where there's a Twitter account. I think it's called Immortal Fortress, and it's Elminster or something is trying to reach out to
Yes.
our world for giving us clues to help whatever. And
Mhm.
he's in real life. They're sending those really cool. What do you call those things? The that you plug into your computer with this
Oh, the
thing.
USB keys?
Yeah, but they're
Yeah,
actually in the shape of keys, and they look
that's really
really
cool.
cool. So they've sent some to Matt Mercer. They sent one. They sent one to somebody else who does a show. And they sent one to
It's probably all the people, probably a
Polly.
bunch of people that are going into this event.
Hmm. And so, and there's all there's these game stores that are involved, and there's these clues out there, and you can, I think a guy named Carl Resch actually has a wiki up on this, and he's like, as things are discovered, he's putting it in the wiki, and so there's about 10 or so game stores that were all involved, and people went to the store and were given one of those keys, and each one has a clue on it with like a rune, and the runes equate to letters, and so they're slowly filling out like a word jumble or something. So
Hmm.
at the end of this episode, that's what that USB key thing was. Chris is tying in apparently. Well, I don't know if he's well, yeah, because one of the new key appeared on his key ring,
Yes.
which is kind of the equivalent of this Immortal Fortress thing.
Hmm.
So it's like, okay, so Elminster sent him that key.
Elementor, yeah.
I don't know how he did
Well,
that,
I
but
mean, we don't know that it sent D at the key, but yeah, we'll have to figure that out because like the note was out of character. Or
so okay. And then it's like the question is like, what is that key to?
hmm,
To the Immortal Fortress? Is that what it is? What is the Immortal Fortress? Do you know? I have
I
no
don't
idea.
know. I have
Okay.
no idea. Like it's Forgotten Realms lore possibly. That's an area I don't know.
Um,
Um,
I guess I'm assuming this will tie into the new products, I guess. So these are all kind of clues that are, I guess, are going to kind of lead up to the new
so
thing.
do you have a guess? Do you have any like guesses of what the thing could be? What this new adventure could be?
Well, I'm terrible at this. I'm always way
I
off.
know it's wild
I
shots.
want it to be Planescape, but it sounds
Hmm.
like it's not Planescape, or maybe it is. Who knows?
I
What I heard,
mhm,
other people's theories, is that it's going to be Waterdeep. They're going to go to Waterdeep and there's Undermountain and
mhm,
stuff like that. And this thing that keeps coming up. You know what's funny is I keep wondering who's Lyric Dashling. And then the other day I was looking through Tomb of Annihilation. He's in the Tomb of Annihilation book. It's one of the subquests in Port Nine Zaru, Lyric Dashling, and I've been spelling his
mhm.
name wrong the whole time. So the house Dashland is already in there, and they usually kind of
Yeah,
set up they put clues for the next one in the last one, or just things that
or
relate to
like
it.
or like threads that lead into it.
So I don't remember where I heard this from, but there's a lot of talk about the houses of in Waterdeep and all the different noble families.
Hmm.
And it was weird, as Mike Mearls once mentioned a storyline. He was kind of cagey about it, but he did just kind of blurt it out that it was houses in the Forgotten Realms are linked to different archdevils, and they're gonna basically the blood war is gonna spill out into the Forgotten Realms through
Hmm.
these houses. They're gonna open portals, and demons and devils are gonna fight in the Forgotten Realms. So I don't. That could be way off, but I thought
Yeah,
immediately I heard that I'm like, is that the next storyline that he just said out loud? Because that's really cool, and I would like to see that.
yeah.
Even
Because
though I don't like the Forgotten Realms and I don't
mm,
want to play the Forgotten Realms, the Blood War is cool, so that would be
yeah.
something.
But I mean, like I remember along a bunch of the lore that you should know, they talked about like the Blood War, and they referenced that the amount of demons that were in the Forgotten Realms from like the abyss
Mm,
would could have some effects with the devils because
mm.
they would realize that the demons had a much bigger like representation in that area with all the demon lords running around.
There's been mentions of devils in almost every adventure. Like Lady Voctor was linked to
Hmm.
devils in the Curse of Strahd book. There's like I think all the way from Tyranny of Dragons up. So I kind of
Yeah.
got the feeling that they do have a devil thing planned. So maybe Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes lists all of the archdevils in it. So
Yeah,
maybe that's where we're Devil stuff, which would be really
yeah.
cool because
I
I wrote a whole thing about Devils there. I would
I
like to
definitely
see.
think, while it could not entirely be like, it could be set mostly in like the Forgotten Realms. I
Hmm.
think they're gonna go outside that setting for partially this thing. There's so much stuff.
I think I said before. Here's what one person said to me. I don't know if this is true. Sounds wacky. There's 4 products coming out this year. This is what they told me.
Hmm.
There's 2 for this Undermountain thing or whatever. Then
Hmm.
there's 1 Planescape thing, and then and you know what? That could have been Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. And then there's a secret 4th book, which is Spelljammer. That's what somebody said. I don't know if that's true. It sounds like a wacky rumor, but I
Yeah.
would love it if that was true. But I don't know if it is true. So
Especially like it's hard to tell because they haven't put out a outside. I mean, like Strahd was the only outside Forgotten Realms that they've had so far. So see how they'll roll that out.
it feels like it's time
Yeah. I mean,
to go somewhere
you
else.
you got to do something with the high level PCs that you've gone through these other adventures with. So something.
I wonder if they are going to make an adventure for higher level characters. Would they do that? I think?
I think you have to have maybe at least one, like, because there's so many like people finish.
Will people buy that?
I mean
I will.
I would like to take my level 9 like after finishing Tomb or finishing Strahd, like take those characters out because it feels like after you're done with those books, it's like you kind of have to start over again because there's no other adventures, like there's no other books that you can kind of like take those characters into without feeling
In
super overpowered.
when I ran games in the game store, that was a constant complaint that they wanted to keep going with their characters. They didn't want to stop. But 4th edition, they had encounters where it was like, you'd hit 5th level, and then the next one started at 1.
Yeah.
That was a
Hmm.
constant complaint. So I hope, and I think it will. If they put out a high level adventure, I bet people will all play
They
it and
kind
will
of
be
have to
like,
because they put out this book, and this book is nothing but
mm,
it seems like large amount of like
hmm
of CR creatures that are
hmm
above like the 1 to 9 like
hmm yeah,
area. So
yeah.
I'm hoping.
All right, we got to stop. We're way over
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Cool.
Got any plugs, Shauna?
I am on I'm on Power Star RPGs every other week for Saturday games. We just got a Tomb, and we're doing the what is the module called? The intro module for Mordenkainen's?
Oh, Rakma.
Rakma, yes. We're going through that currently, and the first part's on YouTube.
Yeah, the second
I'll
part
be
will be
doing that.
this Saturday, hopefully.
Yes, and I'm on Encounter Roleplay's Star Wars game on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and that's been delightful so far.
Mm. I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff. I'll be on the Greyhawk channel tomorrow at 2, Mordenkainen's Path of the Plains, which is really good. The guy's a really freaking good DM. And the other thing, so we put out our first episode of my other secret
Oh yeah,
project.
yes, yes.
It's called the RPGN. It's like ESPN for D&D. So every Sunday on Twitch, 2 p.m. Eastern time on the WebDM Twitch channel, you can watch a show that has nothing. It's like Sports Center, but all the clips are from people's D&D shows. Anybody's D&D show. All the big ones, all the small ones, all of them. The point of this is all these people are doing these shows and it's hard to find them, you know? So I want to show everybody what's out there so we can all watch them and know what's going on and we can identify the good players and the good DMs and you know what I mean? And just I want a way to keep up with all the shows that are going on in like an hour or a half hour or whatever. So the first episode is actually on WebDM's Twitch channel right now. So you can check that out. And we've got like this first one. They're crazy. They got big, like my job on the show is just to collect the clips, put them together in a file and whatever. And then they actually have producers and they're producing this like a live show. And they have all these crazy ideas about they're going to use green screens and graphics and stuff. So right now it's like this isn't the final version of it. This is our kind of like we did 3 test runs and this is the first real run. And so I hope check it out and I hope you like it because there's clips of Dice Camera action on there. I'm gonna pick a freaking clip every week, So
Yeah, it was delightful. I love the Sports Center like angle that you guys are doing with it. It's a lot of fun.
yeah. All right, thanks everybody. I'm gonna raid you now, so I'm going to send you to Anna's show, which is Misclicks,
Yes.
Lost Mine, which someday I will catch up on. I swear.
Catch up. There's so much stuff out there.
So thank you everybody for watching. We will see you next week
All right.
on Waffle
Bye
Talk.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.